In 2009, the Oklahoma City Thunder assembled the best drafted team arguably of all time. Sam Presti started this 3-year run of stellar drafting by taking Kevin Durant at number 2 in the 2007 NBA draft. Durant was a couple pounds of muscle from being a sure thing in the league, as he would go on to win Rookie of the Year that season. The team, then the Seattle Supersonics, would move on to Oklahoma City after Durant's first season. The next year, Presti took Russell Westbrook at number 4 and Serge Ibaka at number 24 in the 2008 draft. Westbrook would make the rookie first team while Ibaka would stay overseas for another year. The Thunder had selected 2 franchise stars in back-to-back drafts, but Presti wasn't done. He selected James Harden at number 3 in the 2009 draft. Harden made the rookie second team that season, and at the time, if you were to ask experts whose future they would take for the next 5 years, every single person would have said the Thunder. So I truly wanted to look back on one of the biggest what-if dynasties of all time. In the 3 years during those drafts, the Thunder would not finish higher than 13th in the Western Conference. The year they drafted Harden, however, things began to change. The Thunder made the playoffs for the first time in Oklahoma City's existence. While they were just an 8 seed, they pushed the number 1 seed Lakers, who would go on to win the title that season, to 6 games. With winning on the rise, accolades soon came as well. Kevin Durant made his first All-Star game and was the NBA scoring leader for the first time. And he also made first-team All-NBA for the first time. He was a rising superstar. At the same time, James Harden made the All-Rookie second team, and Oklahoma City coach Scott Brooks won Coach of the Year. After the season, the Thunder inked Durant to a 5-year extension. There was no question about where their franchise player would be playing for the near future. However, their ascent did not stop there. The 2010-2011 season would see Russell Westbrook join Durant in the ranks of NBA elite. He would make his first All-Star game as a reserve and would make an All-NBA appearance for the first time in his career. Durant was also a starter for the first time in the All-Star game, in a season where he would secure his second straight scoring title and again make first-team All-NBA. Oklahoma City now had budding stars on their roster. Westbrook's breakout led to more winning. The Thunder finished 4th in the West that season. They won their first playoff series in Oklahoma's history, beating the Nuggets in 5 games. They would advance to their first conference finals after beating the Grizzlies in 7. However, their playoff run would end there at the hands of the Mavericks, who beat them in 5 games. The Mavericks ended up going on to win the title, but everybody knew which team was on the rise, as the Thunder were improving every season and their championship caliber squad was on the cusp of a dynasty. The 2011-2012 season was the peak for the Oklahoma City Thunder's incredibly drafted team. Every player we mentioned before made their mark on the league. Kevin Durant started in his second straight All-Star game, making the roster 3 years in a row. He would also be named the All-Star Game MVP. Durant made his 3rd straight All-NBA first-team appearance. Westbrook was a reserve in the All-Star Game for the 2nd straight season. Westbrook made his 2nd straight All-NBA second-team appearance, and James Harden won the 6th Man of the Year. Also, Serge Ibaka made his first All-NBA defensive first-team appearance. Kevin Durant secured his 3rd straight scoring title, becoming the first player since MJ to accomplish that. Ibaka led the league in blocks per game for the first time, and the Thunder had more accolades than any other NBA team. This would be the team's peak in playoff success as well. They ended the regular season as the number 2 seed in the West. They would exact revenge on the Mavericks, sweeping them in the first round. Then they would get some more revenge in the second round, beating the Lakers in 5, which allowed the Thunder to secure their first finals appearance in Oklahoma City history. However, ultimately, they would lose to the Heat in 5 games. In the offseason, after losing in the NBA Finals, the Oklahoma City Thunder traded James Harden to the Houston Rockets for Jeremy Lamb, Kevin Martin, and 2 first-round picks. The Thunder and Harden couldn't agree on a contract extension that suited the Thunder's desire to remain under the luxury tax. Harden was a rising player, but the return OKC got for him was more than fair, for who he was at the time. Houston signed Harden to a big extension the second he touched down in the city. They were betting he wasn't finished developing, and they were right. Harden would debut in his first All-Star game that season and make his first All-NBA team. However, the accolades continued to pile up in OKC. Durant again started in the All-Star game, with Westbrook again joining him as a reserve. Durant was again first-team All-NBA, and Westbrook again second team All-NBA. Ibaka paced the league in blocks per game again and made the first team all-defensive roster for the second straight year. The Thunder kept winning games as well. They would finish first in the Western Conference for the first time. They met the Houston Rockets, led by their former sixth man of the year, in the first round. The Thunder took care of them in 6 games, making everyone in Oklahoma feel a little bit better about the trade. But they lost embarrassingly in 5 games to the Grizzlies. This was their worst playoff run since first making the playoffs with Durant and Westbrook. Reports of Durant's unhappiness began to circulate. The 2013-2014 was a special year for the Oklahoma City fans. Kevin Durant finally won an NBA MVP award after securing his 4th scoring title in 5 years, starting in his 5th straight All-Star game and making his 5th straight first-team All-NBA. He was pretty much a shoo-in at this point. The Thunder had the best player in the league, outside of LeBron. However, their other star was ailing. Westbrook had surgery on his knee before the season. He missed a big chunk of the season and subsequently did not qualify for any accolades. Nevertheless, Durant put them on his back. The Thunder still finished second in the West and dominated the playoffs, avenging the previous season's loss to the Grizzlies, as the Thunder won in 7. They then beat the Clippers in 6 games, but they fell once again in the conference finals to the Spurs, who eventually went on to win the championship. And if you haven't noticed, there's starting to be a theme here. 2014-2015 was the lost season. Durant missed the first 17 games of the season and would only play in 27 games all year. The Thunder missed the playoffs for the first time since their run of playoff success. Westbrook was named the All-Star MVP and made second team All-NBA. James Harden made his second straight first team All-NBA for the Houston Rockets. The Thunder's longtime coach Scott Brooks was fired a week after the season concluded, and tensions began to build. This was the year Kevin Durant was a free agent after the 2015-2016 season. The Thunder had to convince him to stay. New coach Billy Donovan had to make a connection with him. The Thunder finished 3rd in the conference. They easily beat the Mavericks in 5 games in the first round. They ran past the Spurs in 6 games, retiring Tim Duncan in the process. Then they would meet the hardest team they had played in their careers, the 73-9 Golden State Warriors. With MVP Steph Curry, first-team all-defensive Draymond Green, and All-NBA Klay Thompson. Perhaps the only team in history with an argument for best drafted team. The Thunder built a 3-1 lead against the Goliath, then the collapse. They became only the 10th team in NBA history to blow a 3-1 lead in the playoffs. The ramifications of the comeback affect the league even today. The Warriors would go on to the finals and become themselves the first team in league history to blow a 3-1 lead in the finals. The playoffs may have ended, but the competition was far from over in Oklahoma. An all-out pursuit of Kevin Durant began. Big market teams and top-tier basketball organizations began their pitches. The Boston Celtics, hometown Wizards, and Spurs were in the thick of things. The Golden State Warriors were rumored to be involved, but at the time no one thought he would dare to join the best team in the league. If the Thunder were going to go down, however, they were going to go down fighting. Sam Presti sent Serge Ibaka to Orlando for Victor Oladipo, Ersan Ilyasova, and Domantas Sabonis. He had turned one of the core 4 into 3 rotation players, 2 of which could have star power. Considering Ibaka was on an expiring contract, this was an incredible move. Ultimately, it wouldn't matter. On July 4, 2016, Kevin Durant announced he was leaving the Oklahoma City Thunder to join the 73-9 Golden State Warriors. One of the top 3 talents in basketball decided to join the team that had just broken the record for wins in a season. This hurt the OKC fans and basketball fans alike. The Thunder lost their franchise player for nothing. Ibaka was gone as well, and only Westbrook remained. Westbrook was on a mission in 2016-2017. Determined to overcome the loss of Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook took it out on his opponents. He became only the 2nd player in NBA history to average a triple-double over a full season. He finished first-team All-NBA and became the 2nd Oklahoma City Thunder player to win the regular season MVP award. The Thunder would finish 6th in the West and lose in 5 to James Harden and the Houston Rockets. The Golden State Warriors won the NBA championship and Kevin Durant won the Finals MVP award. Westbrook signed a 5-year Supermax extension after the season, making sure he was the one who stayed. And now that we're pretty much at the end of what could have been the Oklahoma City Thunder dynasty, I just want to run through. Kevin Durant went on to win 2 titles in Golden State, winning Finals MVP both times. Serge Ibaka won a title with the Toronto Raptors during the 2018-2019 season, becoming only the second Core 4 player to win a title. However, he came off the bench. At least one of Durant, Harden, and Westbrook has been on the All-NBA first team each season for the past 10 years. KD, Harden, and Westbrook have won 3 of the past 6 MVP awards as well. And all 3 of them currently hold 33 NBA records combined. This is honestly one of the biggest what-ifs in basketball history. This team could still be dominating to this day. They had some of the best players in the league on their roster all at one time. And it's truly just sad they were never able to fully put it together. They were one of the most exciting teams to watch in the early 2010s, and probably will go down as one of my favorite teams of all time. Drafting 3 MVPs back to back to back is one of the most impressive things of all time. However, it didn't equate to much. So hopefully now with the new pieces they have in Oklahoma City, Sam Presti and co can put it together. But anyways guys, thanks for watching. Let me know what you guys think about the video. But anyways guys, make sure to drop a like and comment, and I'll see you guys next time. Deuces.